When it comes to gaming, I don't think there is a TV that can beat the S95B. I lead off this review talking about gaming because that is really the bread and butter of the S95B. And I thought, hey, what better way to show off the new God of War than to show you the S95B? When I first saw the S95B running a game, I was absolutely blown away because this is an OLED TV, and I'm not really expecting this amount of brightness and color pop out of an OLED TV. This is something that I would usually expect from a QLED TV. And so this from an OLED really did blow me away. And I think that's going to probably be the sentiment for a lot of people when they see the S95B or the A95K for the first time running a game. So yeah, there's reasons to lead off with gaming when it comes to the S95B. Now, when we're talking about the S95B, we gotta talk about the price bracket that it's in. And it's just above the C2 and A80K, and I do think that this TV is significantly better than those TVs. And right now for Black Friday, you can get the S95B 55-inch for $1449 and the 65-inch is $1799. If you guys end up taking advantage of that deal, please consider using my affiliate links in the description below and in the pinned comment below. This helps out the channel so much, so thank you if you consider doing that when buying your next TV. So before we dive deep into the S95B review, I just want to talk about the elephant in the room here, and that is the nerf to the S95B's brightness. I do want to say that there has been some updates on the S95B that has pulled some things a little bit down in terms of the peak brightness, but these things are a little bit overblown in terms of the actual result that you're going to see on the TV. I have tested the factory S95B versus an updated S95B, and I didn't really see a real world difference in gaming. The only thing you could notice is that the S95B's EOTF has been lowered with the updates. And really, to get that back to where it was, all you have to do is go and switch the ST2084 in the user settings to +2 or +3. Just see which one you like better, but is going to get it very close, if not the same as pre-update for gaming. But I want to note that my recommended settings before the update was to put the ST2084 at -3, and after the update I'm fine with keeping it at 0, so maybe just leave it alone, and I think you would probably like the picture quality for the S95B in game mode with the 1304 update. Alright, so let's move on and lead off with its core strengths, and that of course is gaming. Now, in terms of its gaming features, there are a long list of things with the S95B to absolutely love. Now, the first one being the game bar is a really nice touch that you have on these TVs. You are able to see your FPS and also a couple of different settings that are on or off, so you know if you have HDR gaming or VRR gaming active. You also have the ability to go to 21:9 or 32:9 with the click of a button if you're using a PC that supports it. Speaking of PC gaming, the S95B also supports 4K 144Hz, so that is another nice option for PC gamers. And one of my favorite settings, the S95B does have the Samsung Game Motion Plus, which can make some 30 FPS games actually playable when before they were sort of unplayable. And I think this is a really important feature for the S95B because it is an OLED TV, and OLED TVs typically do struggle with some 30 FPS games. So it is nice to see this option on this TV. The other cool game feature is going to be the different game mode profiles. I think this is a really great addition, and to be able to set all your user settings and then have them saved under different presets is very helpful to a lot of gamers. In terms of input lag and motion for gaming, I think that the S95B is just as good as the C2, and it performs very similarly on that level. You will see that the input lag is just about the same, honestly, and there aren't any differences in real world gaming between the two in terms of input lag and the actual response time that you're getting from the TV as well. For HDR games, I was really surprised that this TV came close to matching the QN90B at times, and really most of the time the QN90B and the S95B for games looked almost identical in terms of the brightness, which I've never ever seen from an OLED TV before, so this is a big plus for me. In terms of the image fidelity that you're getting out of this TV, you are getting almost the same type of performance as a Sony OLED TV in terms of the game mode picture quality. And I've honestly not been able to say that about any other OLED TV. That's really nice to see. The processing with the game mode is really good. I would say it's second only to Sony in terms of the game mode image quality that you're getting. You know, Sony does get the advantage because they have things like reality creation that you can turn on to make it a little bit better in certain games. But the S95B does a really great job. The native sharpness that you're getting out of this TV is really good, and it makes a very pleasant gaming experience for picture quality. One thing to know about the game mode picture quality out of the box is that the game mode settings aren't that great for default. So you're going to want to make some changes. If you're somebody who doesn't like contrast enhancer, it's on by default for high. So you're going to want to change that. And also the color may be a little bit too boosted for some people. So you might want to change that as well. The color temperature and the color space is also something you might want to take a look at depending on your preferences. Once you change all of those settings to meet your liking, I think you'll end up with a really fantastic picture quality for game mode that you probably haven't seen on any other TV. Alright, before we move on to the other topics that aren't gaming, we do need to talk about SDR gaming. Now, SDR gaming on the S95B is the best of the best in terms of the brightness and color that you're getting out of the TV. There are no OLED TVs that are brighter than the S95B in SDR game mode. It's just the best when it comes to the brightness. So if you're looking at a bright SDR gaming TV, you want to look towards the S95B. I absolutely love the S95B on the Nintendo Switch. And like I mentioned, it is really close to the A95K in terms of the image fidelity and picture quality with upscaling that you're getting. Yeah, it's either the A95K or S95B as the best SDR gaming TV, but if you want that edge of brightness, you want to go with the S95B for SDR gaming. Alright, so now let's talk about the rest of the TV's features and picture quality. So with movies and TV shows in HDR, the TV looks really fantastic in filmmaker mode and movie mode. If you're looking for that creator's intent, this TV will deliver it. And there are some movies that just look outrageously good on the S95B. And if you want to add a little bit more color pop, there are different profiles to select for that reason. So yes, after the update, the movie mode and the filmmaker mode have been made to be more accurate. This was a downside for some users that liked using those modes, but you can use standard mode to get it very close to the old movie mode and old filmmaker mode of the past if you really want to get more picture pop out of your movie modes. In HDR, what really pushes the S95B above almost every other TV is going to be that color brightness. You're not going to find an OLED TV that's not the A95K and the S95B that can do this because QD-OLED technology allows the color brightness to be brighter than it's ever been on an OLED TV. And you can really see this in HDR content, and it does stick out when you do see it. When I had the C2 next to the QN90B and the S95B at the same time, this is really what made me open my eyes towards the QD-OLED technology, and one of the reasons why I'm more vocal about the QD-OLED technology is because I can see the difference. So to me, this is a dramatic shift in OLED technology that we've been waiting for. Another big advantage with the QD OLEDs compared to the other OLEDs of the past is screen uniformity. I have never seen a screen this clean when it comes to an OLED TV. There was not any signs of vertical banding. There was no signs of tinting. This is one of the cleanest examples of any TV screen that I have seen. It's cleaner than LCD TVs. It's cleaner than OLED TVs. Really quickly, I want to touch on sound. The sound quality out of this TV is actually pretty good. Now, when you crank up the sound on this, you're going to get some pretty decent bass. And honestly, it was more bass than I expected from a TV. So if you're looking for a TV with pretty good sound quality, this is going to be a TV that you'd be pretty happy with. Now, I'm not saying that you shouldn't get a dedicated sound system, but you can get away with this as a TV sound if you're not really trying to invest in a good sound system right now. With the latest update, Samsung also added Xbox Cloud Gaming. This feature is really cool, it works really good, and I was pretty happy with it when I tested it, and this could be something that is underlooked for some people, or it may be something people never use, but I just wanted to make sure I mention it. Alright, now, so everything I said about the TV so far has been really good, it's been very, very good things, right? But there are some downsides that you need to look out for, and that's what I'm going to give you right now. Here are the big cons with this TV. Now, the biggest downside with the QD OLEDs are going to be the size. Of course, you're only having the S95B and A95K available in 65 inches and 55 inches. So, those of you that want a bigger TV, you're going to have to wait until maybe next year when we see the 77-inch OLEDs. Now, that's just a rumor, nothing is confirmed, but I would be surprised if the 77-inch QD OLED didn't come next year. The next thing is updates. Some of the updates can be pretty buggy. My best recommendation for you is that once you find an update you really like, and if you're fine with it, take it offline and then maybe just wait for a video review on the firmware updates that come out, or find some user reviews on forums and look into that before you download the next update. And I would not use the USB updates specifically unless you know what you're getting yourself into, because some of those USB updates on the website, well, I want you to look at these almost like a beta. So you don't want to test these out yourself unless you've gotten confirmation from other people that they work really good. Usually they don't push OTA updates that are bad, and if for some reason they do, they pull it really fast, but you'd still want to take your TV offline if you're happy with the picture quality. That's the best bet, and I recommend that with every TV that you own, just because you never know what's going to happen, especially Samsung TVs. They can really change picture quality with updates, and you might not want that if you put a lot of time into making your picture quality good. The next downside has to do with build quality. So these panels really feel kind of flimsy when they're out of the box, and when you're putting the stand on, it does make a really nerve-wracking experience to put the stand on this TV. It feels like the TV is going to snap in half at how thin it is. And in fact, some of the TVs are actually kind of bent out of the box, so you might want to watch out for that. Sometimes you really have to go looking for the bend to actually find it, so if you're gonna watch the TV and you really don't notice the bend, I wouldn't really go looking for it unless you care about the resale value of your TV. If that slight bend is gonna bother you, then absolutely return the TV for another one. And if you have another problem, maybe go with a different model. But yeah, the S95B does have a chance to be slightly bent out of the box. A lot of the feedback that I've got from viewers is that the panel bends aren't that bad, but they are still something you can notice if you really go looking for it. So it really just depends on how tolerable you are to that issue. It's not on every S95B, but it is on a good amount of them. So there are some out there that are slightly bent. So you just want to be aware of that issue, and if it's going to bother you, maybe don't get the S95B. And the last downside, but certainly not the least, is going to be the Tizen OS and the mistakes that Samsung has made with their 2022 TVs in terms of their controller and the UI functionality. And just the one remote used to be such a good concept with the Samsung Tizen system, and for some reason, they went and messed it all up because they wanted to go with a full screen menu. And this just completely tore up their whole entire system. In my opinion, this is the biggest mistake that Samsung has made. And when you hit the home button, it feels very clunky because the videos try to load up right away. And if the video has to switch into HDR, there's a little bit of a delay to that. So these things just add even more clunkiness to the system, and the navigation can feel slow at times. While it isn't hard to change the input, it does take some steps, and there's something that could really be done to solve this, and just have a dedicated input button next time. And hopefully going forward, Samsung will think of this on their next year's iteration of the TV, because the one remote, it used to work as a concept, but with the change to the full screen menu, it is no longer an intuitive system, and it absolutely is terrible. With all that said, I do think the pros greatly outweigh the cons, and I still think that this is, in my opinion, the best TV you can buy for the money, and it's just the best TV this year for most people. Now, if you want the best of the best, I still think the A95K does edge this out, But if you are a gamer, remember this has 4 HDMI 2.1 ports and the A95K only has 2. Also lacks some gaming features, so I give the edge for gaming to the S95B. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button and consider subscribing for more content just like this. And if you want to see how the S95B stacks up against the LG G2, check out this video right here.